Right, hello. It's the day after yesterday, which will make it today. We're Wednesday today. This is a follow-up to the Strat neck I've been working on, trying to get straight. The 96 50th anniversary American Strat. Now, I had it clamped up overnight, and though it took some of the bend out, it didn't take all of the bend out, which meant I still had some relief, which is relief is bow that way, like a trough. So I altered the truss rod to see how much I could get out, and I managed to just get the neck straight by altering the truss rod, tightening it all the way up. Now that's not what we want. We want it straight with no big tension on the truss rod. We want the truss rod basically in its center, because it's a two-way truss rod, it'll go one way or another. And we need the neck straight when it's got no tension, it's sat in the middle. So what I've done now is I've reclamped the neck, but I've done it the proper way. This way we're going to do it, we're going to treat it with more heat, because the reason it didn't take, we didn't get enough heat in there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I've got it clamped up. I'm going to explain how we've got it clamped up, but basically we've got the neck the right way up now with the frets on top. We've got clamped both ends, and we've got basically a chock in the middle lifting the neck up. So instead of the neck being in its natural position, well it's unnatural, but we've chopped it up so we've got a bend in it. And what we've done is we've placed a steel rule all along the length of the neck, got it clamped in, and we're going to treat it. Now it's bent in that position, we're going to stick a hot iron on there, and we're going to leave it for a couple of hours to let the heat will go through the steel rule. It'll go into the frets will dissipate the heat all the way through the neck, and we'll get some heat in there, and the fibres of the wood hopefully will spring back to how they were originally. So rather than just explain it to you and you not have a fucking clue what I'm on about, I'll show you. There you go. So we're here. We're on this bench now. Now what we've done here is we've got a clamp each side. Now if you see beneath each clamp, between the table and the guitar neck, we've got about a 1 centimetre piece of pine. So then above the guitar, you see the steel rule all across the length. Between the steel rule and the clamp, we've also got a metal shim. So we've got nothing clamped to the guitar, we've got wood under the guitar, we've got a steel rule on top of the guitar. We do this so we don't make any marks anywhere. Now you can see that steel rule, you look in the centre, right in the middle there, we're looking here, that's higher there, so we've got an arc going that way, you know, like an arch. What we're going to do is now we've got an iron there, we're going to turn the iron on, well we're going to plug it in, turn it on, we're going to on about 3/4 heat, and we're going to place it in the centre of the neck on that steel rule. The heat will dissipate all across the length of that steel rule until it can only go as far as the clamps, because the clamps will act as heat sinks. So the heat is basically going to be concentrated here. That heat is going to go through the neck, and hopefully with it being bent, when we take the clamps off tomorrow, the neck is going to be that shape or flat. I'm sure it's going to work. So that's what we've got done today. So that's where we are. That is the proper way to do the job. Bear with me a second. Right, that is the proper way to do the job. So all being well, that's going to work. If that neck's straight, when I get the heat off it and get the clamps off it tomorrow, we're laughing, because on the truss rod we're going to have to bend it each way. So when we get it back on the guitar, the strings are going to pull the neck up slightly from the headstock end. We'll alter the truss rod and we'll bring it back down, so you're going to have a straight neck. Your action's going to be fine, your guitar's going to play a lot better. Once we've got it all straight, the neck all straight, then we'll look at levelling the frets, which is a different story altogether. When I get to levelling the frets, we'll have the guitar on the jig, the Stumac type jig I built last year, and we'll get all clamped up, all straight, and we'll get the frets done. But first and foremost, we've got to get this neck straight. So that's it for now. All I'm going to do now is get the iron on there, get some heat through there, get it bent, and see how we go on, get that kink out of it, get that bend out of it, and hopefully get the neck stable. I'm sure it's going to work. If it don't, we're fucked, but it's going to work. So I'll get back to you soon. Be good now. Right, hello, back again regarding this 96 50th anniversary Strat. I've got some really good news. The neck is now, it's straight. Don't know what you can see down that line there. there's a couple of kinks here and there, but it's nothing to worry about. We're never going to get it perfectly straight anyway, but we have got it. It is straight. There's a difference between perfectly straight and straight. So now to show you, good thing about it is we've got everything level. There's a little dip, a tiny dip just on this end here. We're not worried about that because what we're going to do is, see, it's perfectly straight now. What we're going to do is we're going to level the frets. Now if we've got a gnat's nadger under here, just a tiny bit out, it doesn't matter, because what we're going to do is we'll level all these frets off. Now I've already been across with the fret rocker, and I know there's only 5 frets that are a little bit high or a little bit out of whack. So basically I'm going to level off, skim the whole lot of the frets. The 5 that are proud, a little bit high, will all come down in line with the rest. We're not going to touch, we're just going to skim the top of these. So we're not going to take any metal off, we're just going to bring the other 5 down in line. Once that's done, we'll go across with the crowning file and we'll re-crown. Basically when we skim the frets that need doing, your frets are like this, they've got an arc, that's called the crown. And when we flatten it, when we file them down, we're going to flatten them a bit, so we've got to put that crown back, and we do that. One of these jobs is crowning file. This is a 3-way file, but the edges have been ground smooth. So when I come across at various angles, and I don't ever damage the guitar. So I'm going to be doing that. That's my next job. Is I'm going to get us back on the guitar. Now the reason I've left it off the guitar is I needed to. This guitar's having a full setup, so I'll show you. I've just took off. There you go. I've just took the screws out, and I've already had a look at this. I've checked the electrics. I've checked all the pickups work. I've had a jack in there. This jack wants tightening a bit. Put the rest on it. I've been through. I've had a look at the electrics. Right, let's just have a look. You see, it's not the tidiest job in the world, but neither is it untidy. Everything's soldered on correctly. Everything's earthed right. The connections are all good. I've got no need to touch that. Everything's fine in there. I've checked the pickups, they all work, they all do. We can have a look at what the pickups are now. These are Seymour Duncan SS1s. And there you go, bridge, middle, neck. So these would have come as a set. Good pickups. I personally would have put a tone mod on here. You've got to call it a Delta Blues tone mod, and what it does is it makes it so we can use tone on the... I don't think you use tone on the bridge pickup. I think tone only works on the middle and neck pickups. And what we do is we put a mod on, and what it does is it brings the middle and neck pickup on one tone, and the other tone works on the bridge pickup. I think it works something like that. Anyway, some kind of a mod. I normally advise doing that. I've done it a couple of times before and everyone's loved it, so, but we'll leave it as it is. It will be fine as it is. I'm going to put everything back on here. I'm going to put the neck back on. I'll get the tuners back on here. I had to take them off obviously because when I was flattening it, leveling it. And I'm going to string it back up with the original strings. Now you might be thinking, why is he doing that, especially in a full setup? The reason I'm doing it like this is I'm using the old strings to get over tension set. Right, because it's going to pull the neck up slightly, and we're going to get it set back on the truss rod, we're going to level. So I know with the strings we're going to get the right tension, get the neck set, but the reason I'm putting my old strings on is I'm going to set the bridge ratio here to make it match the neck ratio. I'm going to all set up here. I'm going to make sure the intonation's right, and then all I've got to do, rather than faff about when I get my new strings on and do the intonation, I'm going to have the intonation already done. So I just put my new strings on, Bob's your uncle, stretch the strings, tune it in, and that's it. Another thing I'm going to be doing with this guitar is I'm going to take the tremolo off completely. I'm going to give this a bit of a clean. The tremolo's not set right, so I'm going to get that set right. So basically it's a matter of get it all set up, get the strings and intonation, everything done. Once the guitar's been done, obviously it's going to be rebuilt, the strings will come back off, then it's going to go over to the neck jig over there. It's going to be strapped up on the neck jig. We're going to get this supported on the steel rods. We're going to perfectly straight. We'll have the 0 dials on there, so if it moves an nth of a thousandth of an inch, we'll know about it. We'll get strapped up so it's perfectly level, and then we're going to skim the frets. once we've got all the frets level, we're going to recrown, especially we're going to recrown them, we're going to polish the frets. So this guitar is going to have the full bit. It's going to have all the work, it's going to have everything you get in a full setup. And really, that's it. I would imagine the guitar is going to play great once it's done. Necks are my specialty, especially fretting, refrets, and setting up frets, doing all the fret work. Am I happy with the neck? Yeah, I am. I'd be totally happy, I'd be ecstatic if I got it perfectly straight. I mean, there's nothing in this. It's just my standards are so high. I mean, I've put necks on worse than this, and got the frets level, and it's been absolutely fine. I've had a lot worse necks. That Rickenbacker I had last year was a terrible neck, but it went, this side is perfectly straight. So it's just a little bit, I could possibly steam some out of that. Why faff about? There's a couple of frets a little bit high. It's going to play brilliant. It's going to play like, because it's a flat neck still, it's going to play like a flat neck. It's going to play brilliant, and the guitar's going to last now. So there you go. So that's it really. That's where I am on this. I'm not going to do out on it tonight. I might put it together tonight, get the tuners back on and that. But I'm not going to do a lot. I'm going to have a good go at it tomorrow. I've got all day tomorrow. I don't feel like doing out tonight, to be honest with you. I've just got out of the bath. It's fucking red hot in this room. It's too bright in this room. I've got a 150 watt bulb up there. It has to be bright because of the work I do. But that's it. I'll get this guitar cleaned up, built up, and set up. I get on my jig, and I'll come back and do a video when I got it on my jig and show you what I'm going to do with the frets and how we're going to do it. But for now, that's it. I'll get back to you later.